Man, that final drive in the Iron Bowl was something else.
You are Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back into Locked On Bama, AHSA Radio Network's Luke Robinson, that's me. Alabama internet legend Jimmy Stein, that's him. This episode is brought to you by Game Time, and we'll talk about Game Time in just a bit. Listen, you guys have helped make the Locked On Sports Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network, and Locked On Bama is a part of it, and we appreciate you every dayers because you listen every day, and you're the greatest. So, Jimmy, one thing about the Iron Bowl, I mean, there's a lot of stuff about the Iron Bowl, but that final drive, the final scoring drive for Alabama, and I'm seeing a trend here that the final drive against South Kakalaki took up a lot of time, took a lot of guts to call certain plays. The final drive against Auburn, same way. The final drive against Oklahoma was headed in that direction. There was just a certain play that cost them so many yards that they were playing from behind the sticks. This staff seems to have a way about conducting itself later in the game. And it's not even later in the game. The drive was like almost 8 minutes long. And it, going for it on fourth down a few times. I know some Auburn fans think Alabama was the beneficiary of a few questionable calls. The pass interference, I think didn't the referee, the head referee guy that the rules analysts say, that he had his arm around him. And then the going low thing, I'm sorry, you just can't do that. I know it was accidental. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Face masks are accidental too. So I don't think those calls were too egregious at all. I mean, if they had not been called, I would have lived with it, but I don't think they were egregious at all. My point being, this staff has really put its emphasis on having these long, soul-crushing drives. And then what you do is you force – now you're like, okay, Auburn, you have to come down and go really quick. Unfortunately for Alabama, in a sense, Auburn still had all three of their timeouts. So it could have been bad. But fortunately for Alabama, Cam Coleman fumbled.
Yeah, and, and Cam Coleman, I think playing dinged up. I don't know if he came in. He might have even come into the game dinged up, but he clearly got dinged up on the first target. Boy, shout out to Bray Hubbard on that Cam Coleman fumble that decided the game late. Whenever it's a close game, a one-score game in the fourth quarter, a turnover decides the outcome. This happens in the NFL every Sunday, for instance, and I think Bray Hubbard really just give him all the credit in the world. As a matter of fact, Bray was responsible for both turnovers in the game, but really it was that second turnover that won the game, and frankly a better play than his interception, which was just simply tipped directly to him, though he had the wherewithal to make the clean catch and actually advance the football. But it was his hit, helmet on ball, something they work on. Kane Womack, he stresses creating turnovers. It's a major stress thing. Obviously, the Nick Saban defenses, they wanted to get turnovers too, and it was an emphasis, but not the emphasis that Kane Womack spends on it. They spend a lot of practice time on creating turnovers, and it pays off at times, and it certainly did Saturday. Lots of heroes. We talked about that in the last show. Bray Hubbard. Several guys on defense. I thought Deontay Lawson played really well. I thought Tim Keenum played well. I thought James Smith played well. Keon Sabb may have played his best game of the year. Zabian Brown, he played so well. I'll emphatically state this. Now, I don't know who everybody's got coming back, so I shouldn't be so loud about it. But I think Zabian Brown should be a first-team All-American in 2026. So, like next summer, when all the magazines are coming out and you go get your Athlons, your Lindy's, Zabian Brown should be first-team All-American in every preseason publication.
I'm right there with you. He was great, and man, I know Cam Coleman was a little banged up. It doesn't because Zabian Brown locked him down doesn't mean Cam Coleman sucks. Cam Coleman's really, really good. I don't want any Auburn fans to get it twisted. We are complimenting both of these guys, Zabian Brown, and it's a bit of revenge because if you remember last year, one of Auburn's touchdowns, he caught a touchdown over Zabian Brown. And everybody was all the Auburn fans were like, get ready for a lot more of this. And at first I was like, yeah, man, I'm afraid we're going to have to. But Zabian Brown played the game of his life. Now, I want to go back to that final drive, though, because the unsung heroes in that one, Daniel Hill played really well in that final drive.
Sure did.
I thought the offensive line did a really good job on that final drive. And the 4th and 2 play, that's going to be one of those plays to me that first of all, it just dawned on me that for 2 years in a row we beat Auburn by going for it on 4th down.
Yeah, 2 years in a row.
Two times in a row at Jordan-Hare.
2 trips in a row. 2 trips to Jordan-Hare. No, 4th down plays, I think, into the same end zone. I'm not 100% sure. It doesn't really matter, but I think it was even going into the same end zone. But wow, the 4th down play will forever. I want to call that game the 4th and 2 game. That's what I'll remember, because I thought at the time I was very nervous for Kalen, knowing that if this blows up and Alabama loses this game by 3 because they didn't kick the field goal, that it was going to be so loud for him. But once he made it, it proved to me why Kalen DeBoer is such a good big game coach, why he's got this incredibly impressive record against top ranked opponents, top 10 opponents. Now, I know Auburn's not top 10. I know they're not even ranked. I know they're 5 and 6. But Alabama fans know that was a big game. That was like no different than playing a 10-1 team to me. It really wasn't. And as much as this Georgia game is huge, and it is huge, you're playing for a trophy. You're playing for a place in Alabama football history. I'm not minimizing that. I'm saying the game feels no bigger to me. This doesn't feel any bigger to me than the game at Auburn felt. And it's not because I'm 24/7 obsessed with Auburn. That's not it at all. I just realized how difficult it was going to be to win that game against that team in that situation in that stadium. So in my mind, this week is huge, but no different than the game against Auburn. Georgia's just a better team.
First of all, there is no game this Saturday if we don't win last Saturday. So yeah, you're 100%. And secondly, I know people don't get this. People outside of the SEC or maybe even just outside of Alabama don't understand this. When Auburn plays us in Jordan-Hare, they play like a top 10 team. They haven't been a top 10 team in a while, but they play like one every time. It is inexplicable. Now,
I give them a lot of credit for that. I give them a lot of credit for that. They do. They find a way to play their best against Alabama every year.
And people think that it's an insult to Auburn when you say they treat it bigger than Alabama does. I don't think that's an insult. I think that is I think it used to be more 50-50. I think because Alabama has been so dominant in the national spotlight for so long, because they know they typically have an SEC championship game the next week, there's no doubt in my mind Auburn treats it bigger. And let's also face it, Auburn's been down a lot longer, so that game ends up being a de facto bowl game for them. I'm not insulting Auburn. I wish we cared more about it as a program, because I personally care a ton about it. But, I think Auburn, I'm giving them credit. When they play us in Jordan-Hare, they play like a top 10. Not in Tuscaloosa, usually not as much. But in Auburn, they feed off the crowd and the whole thing.
They'd have beaten a lot of SEC. I know they finished, 1-7 in the league? I think they would have, if they played exactly that well and that hard in their stadium, they would have beat half the league. They'd have beaten half the league, in that game. As well as they played in their stadium, I think they would have beaten half the league. Maybe more.
For example, and again, this is impossible to actually prove. Yeah, I think they would have beaten Texas A&M Saturday night.
Yeah, I don't think it's certainly not crazy. That's not a crazy thing to say. And also feel like Alabama's not getting enough respect for winning the game. And I think it's because of the 5 and 6 next to Auburn's name. That's why they're not getting enough respect. But I think this is coming. You know what's coming? I mean, the SEC is the best conference, not just this year. When you've added Texas and Oklahoma and 7 teams or something in the playoff, hunt, this is the best conference of all time in the history of the league. Alabama is one game away from winning the league. And I feel like the reaction is going to be, Yeah, Alabama won the SEC, but they don't run the ball well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like every accomplishment is being diminished at Alabama for some reason. I'm not sure who to blame for this, but it does feel like all the accomplishments are being diminished. If this was so easy to do, why isn't everybody else in the SEC championship game? I mean, this is the toughest conference in the history of the sport.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about it. Let me tell everybody about Game Time, because I love Game Time. I'm about to use it some more. I got some more games coming up, especially Alabama basketball stuff. Definitely using Game Time. The World Cup is coming back to North America for the first time since 1994. And with 48 teams for the first time ever, it's going to be massive. But let's be honest, getting tickets is usually the hardest part of anything. That's why the Game Time app is clutch. Finally giving fans a real advantage when it comes to snagging seats. With Game Time, you can track price drops in real time, get alerts when great seats open, and buy tickets the moment they hit the app. It puts the power back in your hands and makes going to the World Cup realistic instead of impossible. Look, all you got to do is pull up the app, and the layout makes it so simple to scroll through matchups and compare seat views. Pick a game, tap a section, and you have tickets locked in within minutes. No confusion, no hunting for fine print, none of that junk. Take the guesswork out of buying World Cup tickets and every match, concert, or ticket otherwise with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply because they apply to everything. Again, download the app, make an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Game Time today. Okay, so want to get to the SEC coaching carousel, but at least have to address the fact that Zion Gibson created about 15 minutes of fervor last night.
I was asleep. Thank goodness.
Well, this is funny. So, last week I went to Vegas, went to the Bama games and all that. And I mean, just my internal clock is all messed up and everything's screwed up. Then I have Thanksgiving with the family, and you know how that is. It's fun, but it's also incredibly stressful, and there's blah, blah, blah. And I drive back and forth to Birmingham for that. Then Friday, you got all the Black Friday stuff. I've got children in town, and everybody's doing stuff. Saturday, I go to the Iron Bowl, and, I'm out too late, drink way too much rum. Sorry for anybody I offended. I really am. I hadn't been like that in quite some time. And then, so yesterday, man, everything just sort of hit me. And so I'm taking naps in the middle of the day and everything's still screwed up. And I fall asleep from like 2 to 6 yesterday. I wake up and then I can't go back to sleep. I'm about to get back to sleep around 9 something. And I see that Hayes Fawcett has posted Zion Gibson decommits. I'm like, what in the world? Just the other, like yesterday, he said, I can't wait to sign with Alabama.
He's a gump too. There's some gumpness there.
He's a gumpy gump. And then his mom tweets, take this down. And I'm like, well, okay, now. And then I said to myself, just go to bed and wake up and see if this is resolved in the morning. Don't stress about this. And so that's exactly what I did. I woke up this morning and he's got a post. It's very weird and cryptic. He's like, there was a miscommunication. Look, let me tell you something. If it wasn't the NIL era, I'd be very concerned because it would seem like there was a lot of fishiness happening. That's what it would seem like. I mean, I don't know if that's what's happened, but I'm just saying the explanation, let's be real, I think it's been long enough to say, was kind of like DJ Fluker's explanation years ago when he said his Twitter account was hacked. You know what I mean?
This could be something. This could be something as silly as, I mean, it might have been something serious, and it might have been something so silly. It could have been the kid gets a DM and immediately decommits from Alabama without talking to his mom, and then his mom finds out you decommitted, and mom's like, "What on earth did you just do?" And he's like, "Mom, I just got offered $5 million by the South Georgia Catfish." She's like, "Son, the South Georgia Catfish is the made-up school that Chad Powers plays for on the Hulu show. It's not real." Like, oh. I mean, yeah. So I mean, that's a joke, but it's probably, and it doesn't matter because he was only decommitted per Tim Watts. I think he was decommitted for about 10 minutes. It wasn't even an hour in real time. I think in real time, he decommitted for about 10 minutes. And let's just stick with miscommunication or the South Georgia catfish story, which I think would be pretty funny.
That would be funny. I would like it. It's like one of those slips of the tongue. There was an old joke about that. I feel like this is what happened, where somebody said, "Boy, I really screwed up this morning. I meant to say I'm going to the movies for a while, and I said something about going to get my car fixed." He said, "I don't know why I did that." And somebody else said, "Yeah, I had a mix up this morning too. I meant to tell my wife, pass the ketchup, and instead I said, I hate you. You ruined my life." And I feel like that's what he did with this tweet. He's like, I meant to say I'm signing with Alabama. Instead, I said I'm decommitting. I don't know why I did that. It was just a slip of the tongue, So it's just weird. I mean, it's just so weird that would happen. But again,
it's a good lesson about what could happen for real between now and Wednesday in this NIL era. This can happen where there are last minute financial offers that are game changers. That can happen. I personally think with rev share being the new rule and the NIL Go clearinghouse process, I think that will happen less than it did. Like, let's say from 2021 to 2024, that happened a lot or quite a bit. I think it's going to happen less because rev share operates as what amounts to a salary cap. And like Alabama, most everyone's money is already spoken for. I mean, now what could happen is a decommitment of a big money kid sets off a domino effect. All of a sudden, let's say a huge kid decommits from Ohio State. Now Ohio State just had a bunch of money freed up. Now they can offer a kid more money from somewhere else who can then lose a kid and offer money. I mean, it could work like a domino effect. Yeah, but I don't anticipate it happening like it used to. I do think there is some drama for Alabama this week on signing day. And I hate that we have signing day in the middle of Georgia week. I can't tell y'all how much I hate it, what the NCAA is doing to my life and to all of your lives. But me and Luke will address it with y'all best we can by having like maybe an extra show. We did it last week about a whole show just about recruiting. I think we'll probably have to do that again this week because we don't want to. We want to continue to talk about Georgia. But at the same time, we need to cover signing day, and signing day shouldn't be one segment on a 3-segment show. It should have its own show. But heck, we play Georgia for a trophy in 5 days. So we'll do the best we can and do extra content for you guys.
Really quickly, before we talk about some of these coaching hires in the SEC, just got a text. I think you're on this group text too. FanDuel, friend of the program, sponsor of the program. They have put out CF college football betting odds for making the college football playoff. I hope you hadn't seen the text. I'm going to give you a guess at it. Alabama to make the college football playoff. What do you think the odds are?
And by odds, do you mean percent chance?
No. Like money line. Can't have a big
yeah. Well, I mean, I know we can't have silence on a talking show
because it screws me up when I'm putting ads in.
I know. I'm going to go plus 200,
minus 3,000. That's very good.
Okay.
You're trying to. I saw your brain working. The hamster was turning. You were like,
that was too tough. If you gave me like a percent chance, I think I would have been more accurate. I was off the cuff. Money line was like, whoa.
What that means is,
who do you think I am, Danny Sheridan?
What that means is they believe Alabama has an incredibly good chance to make the playoffs regardless.
And I think Alabama does have an incredibly good chance. And as a matter of fact, if we were betting today, I would bet on Alabama in the playoffs. There's no question I would. I just warn the people that here's the segment of people, every now and then, I'll see something and it's just one guy that says something and it leads to a 20-minute rant on the show. The one guy that will throw me is the guy like, y'all are worried about nothing. This is ridiculous. Alabama's in the playoff. It's 100% sure. Now that gets to me because that's not true. That's just simply not true. And this is why the BYU Texas Tech thing is real. If BYU beats Texas Tech, then they are in, and someone that is in right now is coming out. And Alabama is the last place team that's in. Right. I mean, the 10th The 10th team is the last one in right now. Now, there'll be new rankings Tuesday night. I still think Alabama will be 10. I hope they're 8. I hope they're 9. If they're 8 or 9, I'll stop talking about this.
Yeah.
But if they're 10, I'm going to keep talking about it because, again, if you add a new team in that's not projected to be in, then someone has to come out. I don't know why everyone assumes someone ranked ahead of Alabama is going to fall out behind them. I don't know why people assume that.
One other thing that's interesting about these odds from FanDuel that a mutual buddy of ours, William, points out, who is very good with numbers and things.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show. Great American. He said no action is offered on Ole Miss or Oklahoma making it. No, there's no action on that. And there's no action on Texas or Vanderbilt missing it. What that tells me is that Ole Miss and Oklahoma are either locks, which I think they are, or there's some ambiguity, like could they be the ones to miss out should, Alabama lose this game? And here's the other thing. Why is it us that's always in the center of this controversy about making it or not?
Year after year.
Year after year. I mean, last year and I believe we got hosed.
I still believe that as much today as I did a year ago. Alabama should have been in and SMU out. I 100% believe
2 years ago, it was the Florida State thing, which again
that worked out our way, and I believe it worked the right way. And people are like, what a homer. Yes, I'm a homer. Yes, but that doesn't mean that I don't have logical reasons to support my stance.
Yeah, I mean, you can be a homer and still be correct.
Exactly.
And then 2011, of course, the LSU rematch. 2017.
There was the thing with TCU back in 2020. Was it 2021? No, the TCU. No, the more recently when TCU the year that TCU lost to Georgia 1,000,000-0 in the championship game.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, that one's in there. I mean, but the 2000, I thought you were going to talk about 2014, but we were locked in. So 2017, when we didn't make the title game, Auburn did, and, Georgia and us in a rematch. I mean, it's like we're always in the center of this thing somehow, some way.
It's a compliment to Alabama that we are.
Yeah. I mean, that's a positive. Yeah. But it's just, we're always, and so what I'm saying is, if you look at this, and now I'm thinking that means they're both in. But if you're the committee and you're like, okay, we got to drop somebody. Now,
I think Ole Miss could be dropped because they lost their, not just Lane Kiffin, but so much of their offensive staff is now gone. Charlie Weiss and here's one thing, because Luke brought up Florida State. I want to reiterate this so people understand. I don't think Ole Miss should be dropped out because they lost Lane. I don't think that should be a justification for dropping them out. And people say, well, yeah, but look what they did to Florida State. Huge difference to me. When Travis Hunter got hurt at Florida State and was lost for the year, we saw Florida State play and they weren't good. That's the point we were bringing up on the show all the time. We've now seen the evidence. They played, I thought, very bad offensively against a really average Louisville team in the ACC championship. They won, but they clearly weren't the same team. We haven't seen Ole Miss without Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss, and I think it's rude, if not just incorrect, to assume that they won't play as well. Now, there probably will be a decline in their efficiency, I would think. But that's assuming. With Florida State, we saw them without Jordan Travis. It didn't look that great. And that was the team that they were going to be bringing to the playoff field. So I differentiate. So just throwing that out there, that I don't think Ole Miss should drop because they lost Lane, because we haven't seen him yet without him.
I feel you, but I feel also that the fact that those odds aren't up there, maybe they're thinking, okay, what if they move Ole Miss back dramatically this week? What if they move Oklahoma back even behind Alabama? Which, before you say, well, they beat them head to head. I get it. I hear you. But they've already set a precedent with Notre Dame being ahead of Miami. And so what I'm saying is, it's not crazy to say, okay, Alabama's in the title game. Oklahoma's not. Alabama's ahead of them. Anyway, we need to go to break. But, tomorrow's going to be – I didn't even think about those two possibilities till those odds were just presented to us. Let's talk about Omaha steaks. The holidays always feel a little easier when you already know the perfect gift. And Omaha Steaks makes it almost too simple. It's like putting Alabama ahead of Notre Dame. Too simple. Whether you're treating yourself this season or sending something memorable to family and friends, Omaha Steaks delivers handcrafted perfection right to your dough. And this week is the best time to jump in because their cyber sale is here and the deals are huge. The quality is exactly what you hope for. Incredibly tender steaks, rich flavor, and meals that make hosting or weeknight cooking much, much easier. Go to Omaha Steaks. But save big on unforgettable gifts with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide and extra 20% off on select favorites, including their cyber sale for an additional $35 off. Use promo code college at checkout. That's Omaha Steaks, promo code college. Terms apply because they apply to everything. See site for details.
It's Cyber Monday. As we tape this, a lot of y'all are listening to this on Tuesday, but Omaha Steaks will be part of Cyber Monday, and shout out to FanDuel.
Yeah, but
we were just talking about.
Yeah, I think everybody's going to be listening to this on Monday. We're putting this out here pretty shortly. So.
Oh, okay, good.
All right.
I lose track of the days. It's SEC Championship Plus signing day. How? Can you imagine the hours that Courtney Morgan and Alabama staff was working this week? Can you imagine?
I mean, and plus he's got to do all this work, and they're going to Penn State. Anyway, speaking of coaching changes, so
who is going to Penn State?
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know who's going there. Kalani Sitake is now the name du jour, but
that's crazy to me.
So, yeah, that's a weird one. So who? I mean, in fact, I'd be willing.
I think they should hire Chesney, the
singer?
James Madison guy, or the singer. Which, hey, I would watch. Everyone laugh, but if Kenny Chesney is coaching Penn State, I will watch.
They'd go to the Bahama Bowl every year. All right. So who do you think came out the best here? I'm going to be somewhat controversial. I think Auburn came out really well. I like Alex Golesh. That was the guy I didn't want them to get. And the reason is because I think it is a good fit. Chip on his shoulder, sort of no nonsense, rough and tumble. Now, here's the thing. It's been kind of funny. I've already seen some Auburn reactions like, this guy is do we know his religion? Do we know? I'm like, what are y'all worried about all that for? And apparently he cusses a good bit, which I don't have a problem with. I'd do it here much more often if they allowed it, but they don't. And I don't see any problem with that. I mean, I think you're a football coach, not a preacher. So, but I like the Alex Golesh hire. I'm not saying I think it's a home run. I think it's a good fit. I will say this. Yesterday we talked about it on the SEC reaction show. It does make a lot more sense, though, if Florida had hired Golesh and Auburn had hired Summerall. But instead, they flip-flopped, and I'm not sure who won that battle.
That's a great point. I want to say that I like the Auburn hire more than Florida, but this is the way I look at judging coaching hires. If they were hired at Alabama, how would I feel about it? Would I prefer Summerall or Golesh? I think Summerall is who I would choose at Alabama over Golesh, but yet at the same time, I stupidly, because this is a stupid opinion to have, think Auburn may have out-hired Florida.
Well, it's about the fit.
It is about the fit. And I feel Alex Golesh is a great fit there at Auburn. And Summerall, I can't get past this. Florida hires Billy Napier, a group of 5 coach from Louisiana, and it's a disaster. And they fire him. And what do? They hire another group of 5 coach from Louisiana. It feels like they underhired. Like, are y'all sure he's better than Napier? Are you sure? Because it sort of looks like the same hire. Mm-hmm. And whereas Auburn, I'm very comfortable in stating that Alex Golesh is an upgrade over Hugh Freeze. I'm very comfortable saying Auburn.
DJ Durkin.
Auburn upgraded. I'm not sure that Florida did. Now, before Florida fans watch this and hate on me, and feel free, everybody else does. Feel free. I'll say this: if at Alabama, if our choices were Summerall or Golesh, I would choose Summerall. So Florida, calm down. I'm just saying Auburn upgraded. I'm not sure Florida did, in part because I think Billy Napier's a pretty good coach. If I was a group of 5 like North Texas who lost their guy, if I was North Texas, I would conjure up what money I have to hire Billy Napier. I think he will win big at the G5 level.
No, I'm with you on that. Then there's LSU, of course, who, made all the waves. It's easy, very easy, and to me, kind of lazy to say A++ for LSU getting Lane Kiffin. I'm going to tell you something. I see this ending in disaster.
Well, it will end in disaster. I think the question is, will he have success before the disaster gets here? There's a clear pattern with Lane. I said it on the show. He shows up, he's the bomb. He leaves, he's a bomb. I mean, that's what it's looked like. I mean, ask the Tennessee fans how they feel about Lane. Ask probably even Florida Atlantic to a degree. Probably USC. The Raiders. It's always ugly at the end. On Seinfeld, they'd call him a bad breaker-upper.
Yeah. That is so true. I mean, I just have a feeling.
And that's going to come. He could be at LSU for 20. Do they think he's going to be there for 20 years? It's going to look like this when he leaves. Now, LSU fans might be saying, and this could be right, LSU's like, well, we're going to enjoy the 2 national championships before that day happens. Okay. Let's see if he can do that. I would say that I don't see any reason to think why LSU is going to be better than Ole Miss is right now. Ole Miss right now, this team could have won the national championship. Hopefully for LSU fans, he'll build y'all into the program that Ole Miss is today. And that's why I don't understand why Lane left. It seemed like he had everything at Oxford.
So far, too, he hasn't taken Ole Miss to an SEC championship game. He was there 6 years. It had ample opportunity. So, I mean, you can talk about 2 national championships. Let's see him get to the playoffs first. I know that he would be in the playoffs this year.
Probably had a better team last year and lost to Kentucky.
Exactly. So I think that, again, I understand LSU's pursuit of him, but if it doesn't raise a red flag to some LSU people, the way this whole thing went down, that's on y'all. I mean, that's just on y'all. I mean, I really see this ending badly. Now, you're right. There will probably be some success in there. There'll probably be some fun in there. There'll be some great quotes. There'll be all that kind of cool stuff. And you'll get a lot of publicity for this. And so, maybe it outweighs, because if you're an LSU fan or an Auburn fan, would you give up the 2019 or 2010 seasons, knowing that essentially right after those seasons, it was a disaster? I doubt you would. But in some cases, and really in LSU's case, to a degree, since 2019, they haven't been very good. I know they went to an SEC championship game. I know they went to one, but they got bullied. And then you look at Auburn since 2010. Yeah, 2013 happened. I understand there were a lot of magical things that year, but they really hadn't been all that since then. They went in 2017, but they ended up with 4 losses that year. So again, it's sometimes you can have somebody like this and it can be a wrecker for a while. So we'll see what happens. But and then Kentucky fires Mark Stoops. We won't get in this yet. They don't have, they're probably going to try to go after that Will Stein guy who, for the longest time, when people were saying Will Stein, I thought that was his last name, like Will Stein. I didn't, and I felt stupid when I realized it was 2 names. But anyway,
yeah, he's a promising candidate, and no relation to me. I get asked every once in a while. Every time I get asked, because Stein's an unusual name to be involved in football. I think there's not a lot of Steins out there, but I get asked, and then I often wonder. I wonder if he gets asked.
Did you, by the way, clear something up for me, because I've told people this story and maybe I made it up. Didn't you once have a law partner with the last name Frank?
Franklin. Yes.
Okay. And it was Franklin Stein?
Franklin and Stein. Yeah, it was.
No. Hear me. Franklin Stein. That's so much better.
Franklin Stein.
Frankenstein.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to lean into it. We literally had meetings about, I wanted to lean into it and put the green monster on like our business card. I thought, because people would remember it. But he felt
it was. Bring your case to life.
I even wanted to. A local Halloween place had a big, like 8-foot Frankenstein, and I'm like, we got to get this for the lobby,
dude. How did you not do that?
We're the only people that have walked in here this day and looked at that as a great business expense. We can expense this.
Alexander Shannara would have done that a gazillion times over.
I know.
Y'all missed the boat.
That's why he made millions of dollars, and I've simply made tens of dollars.
All right, that's going to do it for today's podcast. We'll be back tomorrow with more. Until then, roll tide, everybody.
Roll tide.